There's a war waging in crypto today, and of course, you guys probably know about this, and this is the anti-crypto army that's been in our mess for quite a while. We're going to break it all down for you guys and see what is changing, because there are some changes. You don't want to miss it. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into Tech Path. All right, so I want to thank our sponsor today, and that is Tangem. And if you're looking at self-custody, maybe you've never looked at it before because you thought it was just too difficult to do, this is one of the best solutions out there for ease of use. And it involves, of course, a 3-card set. It's the best way to go. It works with your app on your iPhone or your Android, and it makes it super secure and also super simple to use. You can pretty much get any token out there you would want to be able to transfer to your self-custody wallet. Use our link down below. It's going to give you an additional discount. And make sure when you go over to it, click on that Get Tangem button. It's going to take you to the 3-card set. That's the one you want to get. That way you've got that extra out there for you. One of the greatest ones out there, so check it out. Let's get into it today. A couple other points I want to get to is really some of the actions that have been taken against the crypto industry, and in general, I think against really Americans in general. This was a Digital Asset Money Laundering Act of 2023 led by Senator Warren. And Senator Warren pushed this to really kind of control the flow of digital assets outside the United States. Now, most of this, if you're wiring funds and doing certain actions that are financial, you fill out forms in whether it's bank forms, SWIFT forms, all those kind of things for wires, especially above the $10,000 act. So amount. So I wasn't too secured or concerned about this. But what is happening is this is starting to get into some pretty crazy areas in terms of really controlling how money flows, especially around digital assets. All right, so on another note right here, this, of course, is the Senate Banking Committee. You look at kind of the list of people that are on it, and, of course, Senator Warren, the #1 controller of what's happening over in the Banking Committee itself. Now, I want to go to a clip real quick because this will get into some detail around some of the things that are happening within this. And this is a Senate banking hearing that they continue to FUD on crypto, and the statements here are pretty crazy, so listen in.
These mines are actually warehouses stuffed with computers that process crypto transactions and produce new crypto tokens. They're loud, they're hot, and they suck up a ton of electricity, which can crash the power grid. According to a blockchain analytics firm, today 1/3 of crypto mining facilities in the U.S. are owned by citizens of the People's Republic of China. So you oversaw the investigation into Mine 1 and told the president that the divestment was essential. Mine 1 was located 1 mile from a strategic missile base. So I want to ask you, could the equipment inside that crypto mine have been used to spy on our military operations and our nuclear weapons system?
There is a generalized concern that sophisticated equipment in proximity to sensitive facilities can be used for espionage.
Okay, so can be used for espionage.
They understand what miners are, right? GPUs, these are not necessarily processing equipment that I think would go in that direction. That's a big reach, I feel, and I think the fact that we see this kind of connection is pretty staggering. I want to go to this next clip because this goes into kind of the whole talking points that are driven into the crypto industry that I think are really misleading and maybe not giving the correct education to our lawmakers. Take a look.
But it isn't the only risk. Foreign-owned crypto mines also threaten our energy grid. Could that threaten our national security?
Senator, of course, an impact on our energy sector, our energy resources, our energy supply chain could very much have a national security impact.
All right. It is time for us to pass the laws that Treasury needs.
Okay. All right. So this has so many holes in it. I don't know where to start. I mean, listen, guys, there's many things that can affect the electrical grid. Mining is not necessarily one of them, since the idea for a miner is to get to zero cost. His goal is to reduce the amount of energy and do it in a way that is clean. So I think this completely gets eliminated in any kind of argument if people are just educated around this topic. All right, so here's Cleanspark, who acquired the mining site she's referencing in Wyoming. Cleanspark, of course, well known out there. The company plans to deploy a combination of S1 and 2s really to kind of go in for more efficient, again, back to the point of efficient Bitcoin mining. All of this is happening to reduce the cost of doing that. Now, granted, Cleanspark, US company, all of this is tied into, I think, the future of where Bitcoin mining is going to be going. Now, I want to go into the clip from Cleanspark explaining this. Take a look.
Immersion cooling is one of the most efficient ways to cool high-performance computers. It helps extend the life of the machine while also reducing e-waste. Immersion cooling is the act of removing heat from a heat-generating electronic component by submerging it in fluid. First, we remove the fan so the liquid can flow unimpeded through the machine reliably, eliminating most of the operating noise and failure points within the device. The machines are then strategically placed into specialized tanks. The miners are submerged in a single-phase hydrocarbon oil. This oil is non-corrosive, non-flammable, and ozone safe. Depending on the environment, the liquid has a usable life of 5 to 7 years. The result, we can use fewer machines while still maintaining our output. In other words, we can produce more Bitcoin with fewer resources.
All right, so what that tells me, guys, is that America is leading in innovation. Imagine if we need to do that in the race for AI. All right, so remember, Elizabeth Warren sourced our information from this company. This is their website. These are the intelligence reports that we're seeing on Hamas. Remember, that has been debunked by Chain Analysis, Huobi, Binance. You see all these recognizable names within even Tether and their role in illegal activities. The point is that this is a company that is clearly set up to target the industry. This is something that happens in DC quite a bit. In other words, you prop up a research firm, you support that research firm, then you give it a media arm. And the media arm is clear. Right here's the media coverage right here as they're tied into all things, everything from Blockworks to Axios, etc. And the flow is real. I mean, once that you establish some sort of report and it looks authentic, it looks like it has some capacity, then you can easily roll that out into a media campaign and control the narrative. This is the point, control the narrative. Now here is one of the representatives, the CEO from Inca Digital, admitting to this. Take a look.
Like, maybe this is a little quippy, but I'm not anti-crypto, right? I'm just like anti-stealing people's money, right? So like if you go on our website, you'll see some reports, which I know that you've seen, right? Where we call out specific exchanges. With every single one of those reports, we always reach out to the subjects of those reports first. And in some cases, it's me literally begging them to like take a phone call. And I'm like, hey, we see that you're providing services to sanctioned Russian banks. Here's the data. Can we talk? Now, obviously, like a little bit of this is like, I want to sell them services.
Right.
Honestly, if they just said like, okay, we're not going to buy any of your shit, Inca, but
I see what happens. So like you're saying, guys, FYI, like you need help like preventing this.
Yeah. Sometimes. Right. Then I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm going public with it then.
Because I guess you're criminals, basically.
Yeah. We're the ones that are doing it, right? We are selling this data to the government. We also sell this data, the majority of it, to anybody else that wants to buy it. Right.
Okay, so I don't understand. If you have the data, so-called data, and then you offer the solution to someone, and if they don't engage with you, you reveal the data. So essentially, you're kind of holding them hostage or blackmailing them in some sort of sense. That, I think, is the problem here. And of course, you get into things like, well, just the definition of blackmail. It can be considered whether it's a crime, regardless whether it's true or not. So whether this accurate information is there by this company or not, the fact that they can actually go out and do this is very, very suspect. So the good news is that there's actually some lawmakers that are starting to read between the lines and understand, hey, this is kind of scammy and probably is not real. And of course, if you look at the co-sponsors of this, I'll zoom in on this so you guys can get some of these names. If they're in your district, you should let them know. Reach out to them. Let them know what your position on it. But right now, the good thing is that Senator Marshall, Roger Marshall, out of Kansas, a Republican, has left the committee. So he's withdrawn from that. This is a big deal because it starts to set the tone, I think, for a lot of people. And we're starting to see this more and more in DC, especially with all the lobbyists and the efforts that we've seen within the group out there. So nothing more inspiring crypto policy. Members update their priors on crypto. This, of course, is Roger Marshall coming out and getting out of this. So kudos to you, Senator Marshall. Great to see people actually waking up to it. Now, he, of course, now on the Stand with Crypto side is now in a position where he is supporting crypto. So I think we're going to see a lot more of this in DC, where people are starting to understand there's a narrative here. So I want to go to this next clip, and the next clip is a little bit more on John Deaton, because he is going head to head with Senator Warren. Listen in.
Why say such stupid things? People will clip those statements and just post about them and debunk them. She's harming herself. I think her image is diminishing in people's eyes. Why would a smart woman like her be doing this? Is there any pressure, outside pressure? Is there a strategy I'm not seeing?
Well, she is a smart woman, and she knows that she's not telling the truth. She knows that Bitcoin is not used for the purposes that she's saying it is, to the extent that she is. If you remember, when she announced her re-election for a third term, she actually brought up crypto, right? She didn't bring up illegal immigration. She didn't bring up the debt crisis. She didn't bring up opioid addiction. She brought up crypto. I'm building an anti-crypto army. And I literally was scratching my head. I hadn't gotten in the race. And I'm like, why? Why is she focused on that? Could not figure it out until she went on Meet the Press with Chuck Todd and said the following.
But in that case, let's do a central bank digital currency.
Are you there?
Oh, for a central bank digital currency? Yeah. Yes. I think it's time.
And then the light went off. I said, now George Orwell is spinning in his grave. The first day I announced, she started tweeting about me. She's been sending multiple emails about me. She uttered my name on St. Patrick's Day, making a joke about my book.
So here is my national political joke. This is what's great, though, about St. Patrick's Day. It's how everyone celebrates it. Whether you're Boston's own Nick Collins or Rhode Island's own John Deaton.
Why did Elizabeth Warren call me an extreme MAGA Republican who has been recruited to run against her?
She said that?
Yes. That's a direct quote. So I believe she sat down and her team intentionally trying to fuel people, misleading them, lying about me, right? My daughter, my ex-wife just threw a fundraiser for me. She's a Biden supporter. They called me upset. My daughter Jordan, who's in the room with us, they were upset. Like, why is she calling you an extremist? My God, you've been a Democrat, an independent, a Republican. You're like the most nonpartisan person ever, Dad. And it's, to answer your question, I'm going to fuel people. I'm going to lie about this guy because he's a threat and I want to stay in power. One of the first bills I'm going to write, Mario, is for term limits. You get 12 years to go to Washington, D.C. to be a senator. If you can't help bring change in more than a decade, then it's time for you to leave and let someone else. If term limits don't become law, then I will not run for a third term.
All right, so full disclosure, John Deaton's been on our channel before many times. In fact, he was pretty much a political analyst with us, not program, but, and I think with John, the one thing you have to understand is I do believe he is a guy for crypto. So the good thing is I don't, with all politicians, I'm always questioning everything. So go check it out. Just go over to John Deaton for Senate right there. You guys can, of course, support him. You can donate. You can add crypto to it. All sorts of things over there. And this is really the step that everybody out there needs to take today. And that is, if you're not planning to vote, whether it's for a Senate position or if it is for the president, you guys got to do it. Everybody's got to get out there and do it. I just say get out and vote, whichever candidate you like. But the point is, get out there and make your voice heard. Hopefully that will help you guys out. Listen, if you're not part of the Diamond Circle, make sure and get in on that. It is our own private member group where you get additional content. We do all sorts of stuff over there that is not over here on the YouTube channel, including we have a community, much like a Reddit or a Discord. You guys can, of course, jump in, talk with me. We also have a private member group as well. Use the link down below. It's very easy to join. And, of course, if you're not following me on X, do that. It's @PaulBaron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.